welcome to 3 Minute Warning.
Show where we take 5 of the hottest topics in sports and break them down into 3 minutes or less. My name is Michael Medina. With me, as always, my good buddy David Griffin.
We're also joined today by AJ Lawrence, USC insider, sitting over there at the Stream.tv sports desk. Say hello, AJ.
Hey, guys.
We're also joined by Steven, our man, the producer, making it happen up in the booth. Say hello.
What's up, guys?
So we are going to get right into it, talking about Jon Jones, UFC lightweight heavyweight champion, no longer. His title has been stripped after a hit-and-run incident that happened in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where he trains. The 205-pounder will, well, for the foreseeable future, no longer fight in the UFC. He's been suspended indefinitely. We're still not sure on the details exactly how long that will be. Dana White hasn't come out and said necessarily exact time that that'll happen. But this does not look good. He tweeted out today he needs to do some soul searching, and boy, does he need to do some soul searching. For those of you who are maybe already got the pay-per-view, you're excited about the pay-per-view for next month, UFC 186 is still going on. Daniel Cormier is now going to step in and fight Anthony Rumble Johnson, which should be a good fight. I think Rumble Johnson's going to win because he's just the man. But anyway, what do we think about all this? All this is going down right now.
It's crazy. I know we talked a little bit about this before. This is a guy that, again, you got to be smarter, man, when you're in this position. I know he may not be quite as commercial as Ronda Rousey, because Rousey's getting like movies and stuff like that. Nonetheless, in the sport itself, he's just as big. He's a huge name, big star. You got to be smarter, though. Gets busted for cocaine not that long ago, and then has this. Now stripped of the title, you know, that he worked so hard to defend. And what was it, eight fights, I believe. Yeah. So it's like, and to have it stripped away, it sucks. But at the same time, he deserved it. He did this to himself.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that happened outside of the ring, of course. But I mean, we see this all the time. Look at the NFL and Adrian Peterson. He disciplined his son outside of the ring. You have all the stuff that happens outside of the field, the ring, and you still have to pay for not everything. There's some things that they'll stay away from. When it comes to crimes, there are things that you sign. There are these policies that all these sports have where you can't violate the code of conduct. So I mean,
that's the other thing too. Like I said, with the cocaine and then this and stuff, at some point you've got to step in. You can't allow him to keep doing stuff like this and then continue to let him just gain fame and glory in the octagon.
Yeah, and it looks bad. Pregnant ladies can't be hit. I mean, I'm not saying it makes it sound it's worse, of course. But if it was like some regular dude and broke his arm, like, well, but I mean, you can't do it anyway. He ran away. He fled the scene. It looks bad. AJ, what do you think about this discipline? Do you think it's just? How long would you think maybe an appropriate suspension would be for Jon Jones?
Well, given that he did hit the other driver and then he ran away, came back to grab money, stuffed it down his pants, and ran away again. And we know it involved a pregnant woman, and I know they weren't life-threatening injuries, but it's still kind of a pattern of behavior with Jon Jones. And I think that the UFC the heads there, Dana White, they said, we cannot have this kind of character. And it puts them in a position of, letting him go essentially for this time being. And the thing is, it seems unprecedented for UFC. So I don't necessarily know how long they're going to hold him out, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe a year or more.
Yeah, sure. It doesn't happen often.
No.
I mean, guys they get injured and things like this happen, but rarely do they get just cut. I mean, Dana will cut people that's cutting for the lack of performance. If they struggle, if they lose several matches.
It's almost like if the NBA decided they wanted to do away with LeBron James.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
bad. Yeah. I mean, Jon Jones is a big star. That's a big one. Now we're going to go into some NFL. More draft news. Draft starts tomorrow night in Chicago. It's a big night for the NFL. Big weekend, of course, for sports, as we know. Luckily, AJ Lawrence is going to be in Chicago during the draft, so jealous, of course, for that. AJ, why don't you tell us what's going on with the draft right now? Give us some updates.
Yes, with the draft just a day away and all of the coverage and the hype going on, we know that the NFL never stops. And of course, in that same vein, it means that fines and suspensions don't stop. We have a season-long suspension for one of the Dolphins player, a $100,000 fine for the Jets owner. The AFC East, it's getting into its rumble. And to kind of kick things off, the Dolphins defensive end, Jordan, who was great, except for his issue with his issue with suspensions. He's been cut for a full year suspension for violating the substance abuse policy for having a diluted sample. He was out 4 games last season because he had violated the rules once again. And so now we're in a position where he's not going to be on the field at all for the Dolphins, and he's not available for what was supposed to be a possible trade to the Eagles, and he's really hurting his team. And this is one of those situations where he's not going to appeal. I think it's because he may know he's guilty. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think his numbers, I don't think he's quite lived up to the expectations that they hoped for when they drafted him. And then you throw in, yes, the 4-game suspension last year and missing all of this upcoming season. And yeah, it doesn't look good. The future does not look bright for him right now, especially now. That trade is pretty much over with right now. So, like, when he does come back, because he'll come back, I'm sure some team will take a chance on him, but it's going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah, it's been rough for some of these guys. We're talking about, not just, of course, Deion Jordan, but other guys just getting caught recently, like with weed. Like, it's just wait a week. I mean, it's
feel
like
we talk about this every day now.
there's always
new.
something going on. The only guy who's honestly kind of been stand up lately is Jameis. I mean, Mariota's always been a good guy. I mean, he seems like a great kid, but Jameis has been, being interviews with coaches, with Harbaugh, talking about his past, discussing everything that's happened, kind of being open and upfront.
Suddenly making him look a whole lot better.
It makes him a lot better. I mean, he's trying to rehabilitate himself. There was of course, that civil suit that came out, but I mean, that's old stuff. It's not anything new that he's done. So it seems like Jameis is really on his way to becoming him. Now the big talk is, after all these fines and suspensions, is who's going to trade for who. We obviously got the Rivers thing going on. Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston, will they stay at 1 and 2? Will Mariota even go number 2?
Yeah.
That's the big debate now, too. We were hyping him as number 2. Like Aaron Rodgers was when he came on. He was hyped as number 1, number 2. Dropped way down there to go to Green Bay. So you never really know what everybody's thinking. There are some really good wide receiver core this draft. It's a guy from Miami. Everybody keeps talking about him.
Philip Dorsett.
Philip Dorsett, yeah, as maybe a late first round, mid first round. Yeah. Very good wide receivers. A lot of talent in the NFL. A lot of stuff going on. But, we're going to move on to our next topic right now. We're going to go into some NBA playoffs. We're going to reset that clock. Some amazing game last night. Clippers-Spurs, the best series going on right now. Controversial last shot by Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
Spurs went on to win 111. Went on to win the game. But that controversial shot was huge. DeAndre Jordan went in. Would the ball have gone in? That's the question, of course, everybody's asking. It looked like it probably was going to drop. But when you're in the moment, I'm not going to blame DeAndre for everything. When you're in the moment, those guys are all amped up. They're trying to win the game. They're trying to do whatever they can to win no matter what. So,
exactly.
I mean, what do you think about What do you think about the game and especially DeAndre's shot?
I agree with you. It's, again, being caught up in the heat of the moment. Who knows? I think it probably was going to go in. It looked like it was. Nonetheless, I mean, you got to give it up to the Spurs. After that first game, a lot of people are like, oh, man, is this it for the Spurs? They're showing their age. They're looking old. Clippers ran all over them. But now it's like, it's a series, man. They're up 3-2. I mean, you saw Tim Duncan on the sidelines. He was showing emotion. He was like, yeah, I'm
when
not
Timmy's
used to
showing
that.
emotion, that's
things
that's
are going
something.
all right. But no, they're looking good. They're looking like the Spurs that we're used to seeing. Right?
Yeah, I mean, Tim was running down the court. AJ, I know I was kind of tweeting back at you a little bit last night saying there's still hope. I mean, I think your tweet last night was just OMG, O period, M period, G period. Just so close at the end. Came down to the last shot. AJ, what were you thinking in that moment? What do you think about DeAndre's tip?
I think it was an extremely stressful moment. I completely understand why he did it, but he played with my emotions. We had it. Things were going really well. I kind of, I think he was just so excited and he wanted to make sure it went in the basket that he wasn't thinking about it. And unfortunately, it was upsetting. An absolute train wreck, and they just fell apart.
Now they have to go back to San Antonio. Clippers have to win to bring it back on the biggest sports day of the year, Saturday, with the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, the draft, everything going on. They have to win to bring it back to Saturday, to bring it back to LA to the chance to win.
I wonder if this might maybe derail them a little bit. Maybe they might lose a little steam. You never know.
Yeah, they have one in San Diego, San Antonio. So there is a chance for them to pull through. I'm rooting for them. But let's go on to the other games too. Dallas, Houston. Houston finally sealed the deal. Kind of all thought they would. Stepped up, won the game. Houston's solid. They're good. I don't think they can win the West, but I think they are a solid team.
I will say I am impressed. This was one of my storylines going into the postseason. Dwight Howard's been looking pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty
he's
solid,
getting better.
Contributing. Yeah, absolutely. Because you had to wonder how the team was going to gel with him being back and all. Harden's again just stepping up, having an amazing season. Really,
Right.
I mean, definitely. I don't think he should win the MVP, but he should definitely be considered. I would definitely make him at the very least top 3.
Right.
I mean, he's definitely deserving of everything. But they look solid. They look like a team that can definitely make some noise.
Yeah, want to get in here before we run out of time. Cleveland Cavaliers owner came out and said Kevin Love will most likely not play. He's done for the season. Kevin Love calls it a Bush League play, getting his arm dislocated there. But they still have LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. That is still a very deadly force.
It's not going to help their chances, but I mean, they've got enough. J.R. Smith is going to be out for a few games, so things aren't looking great, but I think they've got enough firepower.
Right, and they are happy to have this rest that they're having while these other teams beat each other up. We're going to go on to some NHL playoffs, also in full swing. Everything's just going on, NBA, NFL.
A lot of action.
NHL, talking about Red Wings Lightning. Round one, Game 7, big game. The game's tied at 3 apiece. Lightning won 5-2 their last matchup, Game 6, to bring it back. Detroit has an uphill battle, but the Lightning have been struggling too. Detroit right now with their guy Cronwall is suspended. Their top defenseman is suspended for this game because he launched himself, had a really violent check on one of the Lightning players. But the Lightning have their own issues with power plays. They are, except for 2 instances, they are 0 for 22 in power plays during this series. So it is going to be a tough game for both the Red Wings and the Lightning. I'm going to assume it's probably going to be a close game.
I think it will. I mean, Tampa Bay is one of the higher scoring teams in the league. But again, this isn't Detroit's still Detroit. I mean, they're a 6th seed. They're not like your dad's Detroit.
Right.
But nonetheless, I mean, you have to assume that this is going to be a hard-fought series.
Looking at round 2, Rangers Capitals. AJ, a couple weeks ago we were talking about Ovechkin, how he had been struggling. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the Rangers Capitals in round 2?
Well, let me say I'm extremely excited that the Capitals are making it to round 2. And I think this is an opportunity for Ovechkin to step up and to continue kind of what he's known for in terms of providing good play. And it's just a question of whether he can do that in the playoffs and continue to push forward the Capitals. And we'll see.
Looking at Calgary, Anaheim, we're out here in LA. Poor Kings didn't make it, but Anaheim, #1 team in the West, playing very well. They have a 20 win streak record over Calgary at home.
At home, yeah,
It's like,
that's big.
15-5 or
15,
something?
yeah, 15, 15, and then 5 ties. I believe.
Yeah, so this is big.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, this is not looking good for Calgary.
No, it's not. I mean,
good.
Calgary fought hard just to get in the postseason, and they're looking okay. But again, it's like, I don't know. We talk a lot about home ice and how that doesn't really seem to have an effect. Although in this case, it kind of does, I guess.
Right.
Anaheim had a great season. Again, #1 in the Western Conference, looking great. I think this is going to be Anaheim.
Yeah, if it's not home ice, then it's definitely momentum.
Exactly.
I think Anaheim has that behind them. But I mean, the Anaheim coach has even said, he said that Calgary never gives up. They're a tough team. They know they're going to have to battle. Maybe this could be a 5 to 7 game series. I mean, this is going to be a battle for them. It's not going to be an easy victory either way. But I mean, everything's in full effect. We're going to move on to our next topic here, talking about soccer. Last topic of the day, talking about Barcelona and Getafe first. Barcelona had a huge win, 6-0 over Getafe, or Getafe, I guess is G silent, in Spain, in La Liga, 6-0. Neymar, Messi, all the big boys scored. Suarez scored. Even Xavi scored. Just all the big boys scored. All big goals. So Messi had a penalty kick in his first goal, but all these goals were all from like almost outside the penalty box. Just huge goals. Barcelona's rolling right now. I mean, they're only 2 points off. As long as Real keeps winning, they'll be just 2 points apart.
Yeah.
But unless Barcelona loses and Real wins one, I mean, it's not gonna. There's not gonna be any switch. They're gonna win La Liga.
Yeah, I said this before. I'm gonna say it again. Like, I still pick Barcelona to win Champions League. I still think they can do it. I mean, Bayern's a tough club, and we'll get to them in a second. But nonetheless, I mean, those three, their big three, are coming together at the right time. I mean, 6-0. I'm like, geez, man, they just destroyed them. They're looking good, and they can ride this momentum into a Champions League and a league.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, Real again, they have a long way to go. They have to hope that Barcelona slips. Or at least ties and they win, because then that would get a tie back, and then maybe they could win on goal difference. But
it's tough for Real with all the injuries they're dealing with right now. They're not quite as solid that they were at the start of the season.
I think they're going to put most of their energy into the Champions League, so they can get 11 Champions League now. They're up to La Decima. But Louis, now we're going to talk about a little bit of Bayern Munich right now. Bayern Munich in Germany, they have this league called the DFB Pokal, or I'm probably sure I'm butchering that name. Sorry about that. It's like their FA Cup, the equivalent of FA Cup in British Premier League. That's their second biggest tournament they have, besides the Bundesliga Championship, of course, which they have already won. They lost.
They can't win everything, can they?
Yeah, they lost. Yeah, to Borussia Dortmund.
No, this is interesting because, again, Bayern is one of those things. First of all, the Bundesliga, there's not much competition in there right now. Bayern just ran away with that. And there's the super team over there. They basically cherry-picked all the best players from Borussia and just built this team. But nonetheless, and they deserve to win it and everything. But Borussia, man, first of all, I love their manager. Klopp is a fantastic coach. He took this team which is, at one point, like, they were last in the league. And brought them a little bit further up. So at least, they're looking better. They can finish on a high note. But this is a great win. I mean, I just love a shot of him, like, running off the sideline, just like celebrating. Like, he's so high energy. But this is a big win for Borussia. If anything, like I said, end the season on a high note.
Hey, do you think this is more, I guess, maybe a marketing question? You see how big soccer is, and especially in Europe and everything. You think it'll ever get to that level here in the States? Is there a chance of that, even with the success that America had in the World Cup?
You know what? Don't really think so. I think America's fixated on the NFL and they'll continue to love it. And if in any possible chance the NFL stops becoming as popular as it is, I think there might be an opportunity to move in as far as football goes, or excuse me, I should say soccer goes in the United States. But right now, it's kind of one of those when it's a big event, everyone loves to watch it, but otherwise it's not an everyday love.
I wish it would get bigger here. I love it. But, for those of you, we have some great, teams here in the States. Of course, out here we have Galaxy in LA. We also have LAFC starting up. Maybe Cristiano's he says he's going to come out here in LA in 2018. Which team will he choose? We'll have to wait and see. That is our show for today. Thank you for joining us. As always, I'm David Griffin. You can find me on Twitter at GriffinDE.
And I'm also on Twitter at Mr. Michael Alexis. And you can find David and myself right here on the stream.tv on the Arrow After Show.
AJ, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the AJ Lawrence.
And we'll be back here tomorrow. Michael and I will be back here tomorrow, Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for some more 3-Minute Warning here on the stream.tv.